So the record is kind of split in half in a way where like first half were songs that I had written and recorded while I was still with my wife and still, like doing the family thing. And then the second half was when we had split up. Well, the past is a Grotesque Animal would have been after we broke up, because that's all about the breakup and all about just the frustration and the struggle that was going on. But yeah, so that's sort of like in the middle that separates the two pieces maybe, or it could be more connected to the second half. Yeah, it's definitely kind of an outlier. I definitely hadn't ever made a song like that before. I can't really, like the whole thing just happened sort of organically, and I don't really remember what inspired me to begin it. But I think that a lot of times I go into the studio or go into the bedroom or whatever it is, whatever space I'm working in, and just sort of start. And then just these things just sort of happen organically. And then it's kind of like this train that just like leaves the station and you just have to like chase after it. That one, lyrically, I just like basically went through this journal that I was keeping, and I often will keep like a songwriting journal. So yeah, just kind of like went and looked through the journal and looked at all the different lines that I had written down and chose like which ones I wanted to use. And it's very much, sort of like an open letter to Nina, because, just directly talking to her the whole song and talking about our life together, things that we'd experienced. And at this point we were broken up, so I was reflecting on our time together and just kind of communicating directly to her.
The past is a grotesque animal, and in its eyes you see how completely wrong you can be, how completely wrong you can be. The sun is out, it melts the snow that fell yesterday, makes you wonder why it bothered.
Yeah, I remember when I was done recording it, I felt a little bit self-conscious, because it's like it is very emotionally bare and very vulnerable, and I hadn't really done that very much in the past. I guess I did it more on Cherry Peel, and then I stepped away from it because the criticism that Cherry Peel received made me feel like, oh, I don't really want to share my inner world with anybody else, because then they'll make fun of me for it or whatever. So I kind of like got away from that for a long time, and just with things that were going on in my life when I was making Hissing Fauna, and especially like recording that song, just didn't really have the feeling that I needed to protect myself from the world. I just really wanted to express that. So yeah, I guess it is probably the closest that I've come to being completely not self-conscious and just making something in the moment. But I think it helped that I was basically just like, yeah, I'm just singing this song to Nina and not really singing it to anybody else.
I fell in love with the first cute girl that I met, who could appreciate Georges Bataille, standing at a Swedish festival, discussing Story of the Eye. Discussing Story of the Eye.
Yeah, so there's a Swedish festival called Emma Boda, and for whatever reason they would have American bands play it sometimes. And so this other band that I was playing in got to play there one year, and then they invited us back, and then Of Montreal was also allowed to play. So that's where I met her when I was at that festival, that she came with her friend, and who was like involved with the indie underground music scene in Norway and like put on shows and stuff for different bands. And so that's how we met. And all that stuff is like straight from our experience of like, I loved Story of the Eye when I was like 16, 17 years old or something. And I read it, I think Bjork mentioned it in an interview that I was reading, and it's like totally changed my life. But I'd never met anybody. For whatever reason, I just hadn't really hung out with people that read a lot or watched a lot of movies or whatever. And so meeting her, I was very impressed that she not only knew that, but knew a lot of stuff that I didn't know. So yeah, that's like directly connected to that conversation and the first time I met her and all that.
Performance breakdown, and I don't want to hear it. I'm just not available. Things could be different, but they're not. Oh, things could be different, but they're not. The mousy girl screams violence, violence. The mousy girl screams violence, violence. She gets hysterical, 'cause they're both so mean, and it's my favorite scene.
I think we both loved Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. Can't remember all the lyrics, but yeah, there's definitely some references to different things that we both enjoyed or things that we experienced together. But just, yeah, the character in the play who screams violence, violence, when the other two main characters are fighting. And just the intensity of that relationship, I guess on some levels, was something that we could identify with. The main married couple in that movie being extremely close, but having been together for a very long time and experienced a lot of trauma and pain together, and are sort of seemingly very much committed to each other, but are also very damaged people and sort of lose themselves and forget like to be caring towards each other, and just the weird games that they invent, the weird like role-playing games that they invent to sort of keep things interesting and to sort of vent the frustration that is just inherent in every relationship, especially if it's been going on for like 15 years or something. So I don't think that we could really identify with that experience necessarily, but on some level, obviously you don't have to experience it to relate to it, but just the powerfulness of it. I mean, definitely, I've read the play, the Edward Albee play, but the film version is really great because it's, Elizabeth Taylor's amazing and Richard Burton's amazing. So just the two of them, they had such an incredible dynamic that I think that for whatever reason kind of romanticized it a bit.
Do I have to scream in your face? I've been dodging lamps and vegetables, going all in my face. I don't care. Let's just have some fun. Let's tear the shit apart. Let's tear the fucking house apart. Let's tear our fucking bodies apart. Let's just have some fun.
I mean, yeah, it's one of the few songs that it's just the same 4 chords throughout the whole song, and it's a really long song, so definitely wouldn't be something that I would normally even consider doing. But yeah, it is kind of just like a vamp, and it's just a way for me to get all this stuff off my shoulders. And so in that way, yeah, I just wanted to keep it musically kind of more simplistic. Definitely the vocals were the thing that I wanted to highlight, but I also wanted the music to feel very alive and emotive and connected to the emotions of the song. So there's a lot of kind of like growling sounds. There's a lot of like kind of nefarious animal sounds. And so think of that as like kind of like what I was at that time, just sort of like an animal in pain.
I'm so touched by your goodness. You make me feel so criminal. How do you keep it together? I'm all unraveled.
When I was recording Patches of Grotesque Animals, I think that the initial recording where I just sort of laid down, there's like whatever, the 16-minute version, I don't think I like slumped down into a fetal position or anything, but it's kind of just like, okay. Just like, because I was recording it by myself, I was alone. So, it's kind of like, it's interesting how it is when you work alone. There's nobody else in the room, nobody else to like see anything that's going on. So you just sort of do it and then it's over and then it's quiet. And then you think about it. What did I just do?